Today, I don't have a guest for you, but I have an interesting program. I'm going to talk about some of my very interesting transdimensional adventures. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about a template that I learned about while on a transdimensional visit to the big ship, which is a possible way to bring peace and harmony to planet Earth. Now, before I start, I guess I should clarify that I was not under the influence of any kind of psychedelics while I had this experience. All of my experiences, or most of my experiences, happen while I'm asleep. And I have different kind of dream states that facilitate this. Occasionally, I will remember a dream and it will be fairly detailed, but nothing like my transdimensional travels. And it took me quite a long time to realize that my transdimensional experiences are real, very real. In fact, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do a panel and invite some guests on who also share some of these very real, amazing experiences. Oh, I forgot to mention, happy autumn. I guess we're into that time of year. I hope you're all enjoying the crisp weather or rain, depending on how it manifests for you, and the beautiful autumn leaves if you're lucky enough to experience the 4 seasons. Anyway, I guess I should just get on with it. My time's quickly passing. I want to tell you about one more experience that's completely different again. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When Orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. And this was an experience that I had while I was doing what I call the exopolitical ambassador work. So when I do that kind of work, I am very aware that I'm there etherically. I'm not there physically. So the first 2 experiences that I shared, I'm very much there physically. I have no idea how this works. All I know is that it happens for me, and I'm sure it happens for other people too. In fact, I know it does. And, but anyway, it was, we were communicating about a model that could be used for worlds that are finally sick and tired of war and the uneven distribution of resources, and they're ready for a new plan to put into action. Now, I think that this plan would work here on Earth, but we have to want peace and fairness and justice more than what we want materially, or more than when we want war or economic gain. And I think we're coming to that place. And I think it could be even sooner than we think. And so I want to tell you a bit about this amazing plan. I'm not going to get into it in great detail. It could be a whole podcast on its own, and perhaps I will one day, but I'm going to start off by just basically, I'm going to include a few visual overlays with this video to help you to get a better understanding of this plan. So the plan starts with a planet, and I'm going to use the globe Earth model here. It actually would apply for a flat Earth model. It would just be more of a, if you look down on the top of a pie and you cut that pie across in several places, you would have different pie pieces. That's how you would interpret it. But I'm going to interpret it as this globe model. Now, some of you might be saying, why are you including flat Earth? And I'll tell you why, is because people perceive reality differently. And I would not want to discount anybody's reality, even if it's different than my reality. So, but I'm going to, for the majority of people, present this as a globe Earth. And so here I will include a globe Earth symbol to show you what I'm talking about. So it starts out with a globe Earth as we would see it from, I guess, space as we understand it. And from there, there would be zones created. Now, instead of the countries that we have now, we would have zones that were vertical. So they would run from pole to pole, from the North Pole all the way to the South Pole. And then they would be basically lined up next to each other until the whole world was basically like a beach ball, having these different zones. And each zone would have a different purpose. So whatever purpose that you resonate with the most, that's the zone that you would want to move to, or country. You could call it a country. And so there would be these different zones that would be there for all different kinds of purposes. Now, you might be saying, well, how is that going to work? Because some of those north to south pole zones are going to be over water with no land. And I'd say, yeah, exactly. But guess what? When we stop wasting our research and development on products that are destructive, on the war machine, on the global military industrial complex, just think of how we could spend our energy, our time, our creative abilities, our resources in creating all kinds of ways that we can live where it's very, very cold, where it's very, very warm, or even above the water, beneath the water, on the water. There's so much space on this earth, you wouldn't believe it. This whole idea of overpopulation is bullshit. There's enough room for everybody. Just some of these cities that we're all packed into, are overcrowded and give us the illusion that there's no more room, but that's not true. The other reason why these zones would run from the North Pole to the South Pole is because then everybody gets a piece of the equator. Everybody gets a piece of that beautiful zone between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, where it's very comfortable to live. And people would also, fewer people, but some people would also perhaps want to live where it's cold for a number of different reasons, especially if we have the technology to provide comfort to everybody and food to everybody. So some of these zones that are more over land might produce more of the agricultural needs for the planet. Some might serve as sanctuaries for animals and different animal species. Some that are over water might serve as sanctuaries for the cetaceans. And we've got a lot to learn from these amazing, amazing beings that are right here on Earth. The whole planet has not even really been discovered. All the energy has gone on to research and development for technology. And so we don't even know what's within the ocean or what's within some of the different areas on this planet and what's possible. So that's why I'm saying, just checking my notes. So from a side view, it would look very much like a beach ball. And from a top view, it would very much look like a sliced pie. And if you were a flat earther, you would see it as a sliced pie model. And if you're a globe person, as I'm going to present it today, you will see it very much like divided like a beach ball. Now, each of those zones would then be color-coded. And so you'll notice from looking at the progression of the colors that there are colors that are more suited to be side by side. And the same would be true for these different livable zones. So some of them, would resonate closest to its neighbor on its border. And this actually contributes to the peaceful relations and the trade between zones. And of course, there would be free trade from everywhere, and it would be a wonderful thing. And so as you can see, if you take red would be bordered on one side by violet and on the other side by orange, because they resonate closely with each other. Then the orange zone would be bordered on one side by red and on the other side by yellow. And so it would progress. Green would be bordered by yellow and then by blue. And blue would be bordered by green on one side and perhaps indigo on the other. And so it would go back to violet again. And in this way, we have more peaceful relations, especially along the borders, and less competition. Now, as we flow from one color panel to another, there's graduations, and the same thing would be with these zones. So these vertical North Pole to South Pole zones would be at their truest color, and the color simply represents the belief systems, the purposes, the ideologies, and the comfort zones of the people that live within that zone. And as you slowly move towards the next zone, thoughts, ideas, ways of being change slightly, and we become gradually closer and closer to the zone beside us. And this would again help to establish more peaceful relations. Now, we're going to move from the macrocosm down into the microcosm, how would these zones be governed? And this is really important. So today we see all governance coming from the top down. And the top, people at the top don't have a friggin' clue what the people at the bottom or the grassroots people or the majority of the population want or need. They're just making these decisions based on their own philosophical belief systems, and it's not working. Clearly, it's not working. So we're going to turn that upside down, and it now is going to be a grassroots or bottom of the pyramid is going to be where all the decisions and the information is going to come from. And if you're familiar with multi-level marketing, think about it as reverse multi-level marketing. It works exactly the opposite way. So if you want to look at it as a pyramid, it means that the base of the pyramid would be at the top and the bottom of the pyramid would be the peak. So just turn a pyramid upside down or think of it as reverse multi-level marketing. So what that means is each of these color zones, now they're not literally that color, this is just a conceptual tool to give you an idea how this could work. Each one of those is full of different inhabited areas and some uninhabited areas. So we would look at neighborhoods, and I'm using words that are common to us now, although the zones and the areas might be called something different when if this plan actually comes into fruition. So when you think about your neighborhood, okay, think about your neighborhood. Think about maybe 12 blocks in each direction from where you live. That neighborhood would then assign someone to represent them. They would have meetings. So common people would say, this is what we need. This is what's working in our area, and this is what's not working in this area. And they would filter that information to the person that they've either elected or appointed as being their representative. That representative would then go and meet with what I would call a circuit. And a circuit is a number of neighborhoods. And those representatives of each neighborhood would then elect or appoint someone who represents them. And that would be a circuit. So it'd be like a circuit director. And that information would then filter to the circuit director. The circuit directors would then meet up with different, perhaps city directors that are even larger populations are now represented and would present the information. So you see the flow is going from the people to the neighborhood, to the circuit, to the city, and so on and so on. And the cities would then appoint or elect a representative that would be in charge of a region. Well, not in charge. They're taking their marching orders from the grassroots, but they would represent a region. And then different regions would appoint an elder or a leader or representative, probably leader's not the right word, a representative that would go on and represent larger areas. And this would go on and on and on until you get to the whole zone from the North Pole to the South Pole. Now, I think at that point, one person is not going to do it for the job. Probably would be a council, possibly 12 people who would then represent the different regions, who would come together and bring the will of the people to the zone. And then there would be these meetings that are with each zone would come together. And in that way, trade, everything that we need would be facilitated and all of our needs would be met. And it's a pretty cool idea and completely backwards to the way things are done on Earth today. Now, as some of you would know, everything we experience on Earth today is an inversion. You take all the things that are going on and not working, they're inversions of what would work. And so this model of how we could organize this planet is also, been inverted. So let's turn it back on its head and put the power back with the people. And no, I'm not approving of this ad. I'm not running for politics. This is something quite different than politics. This is the people having the power and the power being manifest in reality, and this could work. So I'm not saying this is definitely the plan that's going to happen, but I'm saying it's a plan. And as with everything I say, it's not meant to give you direction. It's meant to give you a jumping off point so that you can use your own mind and your own will and your own awareness to come to some different conclusions, to find solutions to what's going on here on planet Earth today. So that's basically the three different experiences I wanted to share with you. These are just examples of what transdimensional travel or communication can do for you. And you probably noticed I'm doing quite a few shows about transdimensional reality because I want you to see it's a real thing. It's not made up, and it's so cool. And I think that and the people who share these experiences with me, we all agree we're not some kind of special kind of evolutionary people. We're pretty ordinary. We're flawed and we're ordinary, just like everybody else. But we're having these amazing experiences. And I think it's time that they were given validity. And in future upcoming shows on the Quantum Guide Show, I'm going to be interviewing more people that are having these experiences. And again, it's not like you have to believe us. It's just use these experiences as jumping off points to stimulate your own wisdom, your own imagination, and let's make this a better world. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Essempler from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.